there's about 2 to 3 fairy thoughts.
Making a full circle around us this moment. Like a white light, full circle. You ready? Hello. Hi everyone. My name is Anthony Kerrigan and welcome to the GhostÉire Channel. We're live tonight and we're talking to Caoimhe Stewart and also Diane McGee from Ethereal Paranormal Investigators. How you doing, ladies?
Okay.
How are you?
How you doing? It's great to have you on the show. Tonight's topics, we'll be talking to Diane and Caoimhe about healing. Also, the Manor House situated on Rathlin Island in County Armagh. And the final subject is going to be about the Annalise Michelle exorcisms. If you have any questions for Diane or Caoimhe, feel free to put them on this live post. You can also go to our website, www.ghostére.net, go to the contact page, fill in the blanks there. If you have any private message, just put in brackets, private message. If you're affiliated with any paranormal team or tourist attraction, feel free to name the organization and we'll give a shout out to you. We're also coming live from here and also on our website, www.ghostére.net. On the homepage is the red button, the GhostÉire Channel. Just click on that. You can also see the live stream through there. You can catch up on past shows and what's coming up on the future on that page too. There's also a competition tonight, folks, where you have a chance to enter a Halloween mega draw, where you have an opportunity to win loads of prizes coming towards Halloween. The 30th of October is a Halloween extravaganza 4. We'll be hosting it that night on Wednesday the 30th. And you'll have a chance, if you comment, as some of you have on this page already, to enter our Halloween draw. So we've got a few shout outs before we crack on there to the interview. Joanne Breen from Seekers of the Afterlife says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Joanne. Hope you're keeping well.
Evening.
Hi, good evening.
Jonathan Watson from County Fair. Hi, Jonathan. How you doing, mate?
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Hope you're keeping well, Jonathan. Thanks for tuning in. So first of all, we're going to touch on the first subject there. I suppose it comes to yourself, Caoimhe. How did you first of all get interested in the paranormal, and how you met Diane and started the team?
So I was always kind of interested in the paranormal. From I was like a really, really young age. My daddy really got me into it. It was kind of our thing. And like I remember being maybe about 7, me and him just sitting in at the weekends watching scary movies. Like it was always just mine and his thing. And I always thought I would love to do it. And then I kind of went, it's a very weird thing to be into, isn't it? Like I couldn't do that because everyone would think I'm weird. And then over lockdown, I just kind of was like, life's too short, do it. So then I ended up joining a team, and it just wasn't, it just wasn't the right team for me.
Okay.
So I ended up leaving that team and joined another team, and again, just wasn't the right team. And I just kind of went, this is something I love to do, and I'm not going to throw in the towel because I'm not fighting the right team, so I'll make my own team. And then I knew Diane from school. We were at school, and we actually met through our best friend, Emma, and Diane had kind of drifted. We hadn't spoken a few years. And when I made the team, I seen Diane was into all the healing and that type of stuff, and I was like, perfect. She would be perfect to be on the team. And I reached out to her, and I just kind of explained the situation, what I wanted to do, what the team was about, and just asked her if she wanted to join. And she did.
Here we are. Because I'd be the same, about just always having a passion for it, but I never was part of a team. I would have just done wee things here and there with myself and maybe a couple of friends, but not actually part of a proper team. So I was really happy when Caoimhe reached out to join the team.
And so the team has been established. How long has it been established now?
October was when I first created the team, but I was so iffy with who I brought into my team. I wanted to make sure that everybody connected well with each other, worked well with each other, and that it was just the right group dynamic. So it took me a while to get the members of the team. And then once I felt that the team was right and the team was ready and everyone got along well and knew each other, that's when I was like, okay, let's do the investigation now and let's see how we work together as a team on an investigation.
And go on, carry on. Sorry, that.
Yeah, no, that's just basically it. I just, it was something I didn't want to rush into. I didn't want, and I suppose like it's image as well in this type of community. You want that good image. You don't want anyone having any negative views or anything. And that was something I was really, really aware of, because I'd obviously been with other teams before, and I had already been in the community. I knew kind of what way the community was, and I was like, I don't want any reason for anyone to say anything bad. I want to make sure my team is up to standard, that everyone gets on well. I just wanted to make sure that everything was going really, really good before we put ourselves out there as a team investigating, if that makes sense.
Yes. Jonathan just commented there, you are just like every team I was in, not right, so I'm trying to start my own. So would you have any heads up how to start a team? We'll go to that question first before we go to the subject.
I think for me it was, I knew what I liked and I knew what I didn't like. There was certain ways I would have dealt with certain situations differently. And it was just kind of like with a lot of teams, it's very like it's my way or no way when it comes to the group leader, and I didn't want that. So I was very now don't get me wrong, like I'll always be really, really grateful for the teams I was in, because they taught me so much. And I wouldn't be here I wouldn't be here starting in my own team if it wasn't for them. But it was just, I didn't agree with the way things were done in certain situations. And like I said, it just wasn't for me. So I took everything that I wanted and I put it out there. And I was like, this is what I'm looking for. And the good thing with me is I already kind of had like connections in the paranormal community. And I was able to bring my friends in as well. Like my daddy's on my team because me and my daddy work so well together. Like, back and forth banter as well. I think that's something you need to have on an investigation as well. Because I find on investigations, most of the activity happens when you're not even paying attention. You're just bantering back and forth with each other. And the ghosts are like, pay attention to me here. What are you doing? So yeah, just for me, it was just something like I wanted. I can't explain it. I just
you want to. I suppose you felt comfortable yourself doing starting off your own team, and then you can plan it and direct it the way you want to go then as well. And who you want to relate to as well. I understand that as well. Unfortunately, I haven't come across that situation myself because I started up the group just more myself then without joining any other team. But I understand the situation as well then. Joanne says it's important that everyone in a team gels. Egos need to be curtailed or there will be problems there. That's true there. So we're going to talk about healing first is going to be the first subject. So we're going to come to you, Diane, there. First of all, can you tell us about Soul of Agenda? Arenda, sorry. That's the name of the group, isn't it, Diane?
Yeah, so it's my wee business that I had started probably in 2017. It's went through all different names, but I always kept the word Arenda in it. Arenda is like a Greek word for a mystical force that is present everywhere and within ourselves to make a positive shift and change within ourselves or the world around us. So that I've always really liked that because that's kind of what I want to bring. So I had done like my beauty therapy and a lot of like holistic massage courses, the reflexology, aromatherapy, and got into Reiki. And that's just sort of where I do my own wee bits from. So I do all different types of massage, but I really love and connect with the energy work for people and communities.
And as we were saying, have you ever noticed an improvement in people's physical and mental state after they've come to you as well?
Yeah. Firstly, myself, because whenever I had found the Reiki, it was at a time where like I was at my lowest and wasn't great. And it was when I was doing that and going to practitioners and then felt the call to do it for myself. There was a huge shift and positivity within my mental health, my physical health, and how I kind of was. And it kind of brought that on for me to do it for others. It's really good for all different levels. So it helps speed up healing for any sort of injuries, physical or not physical, that word's just left me.
Physical, any sort of physical ailment or anything.
Just all over holistically, as well as improving people's like spiritual connections with themselves and the others, and just an overall positive shift in people, especially because it's not really me that's doing it. It's I'm showing you that you're your own healer and that we're all capable of healing ourselves and have that power to take back the power for you, which is nice.
And like I was going to say that, like, so in Reiki you channel through touch, but is there any other senses in the body which can be stimulated apart from just touch there? That's true?
Yeah, so you wouldn't even need to touch. It's the initial touch of the shoulders that kind of help that connection. Because I'm just channeling. I'm just a channel for the energy. The energy would flow through and goes where it needs to. So if you think of it like there's potholes in the ground and you throw a bucket of water over, the energy flows to fill up the holes first and then flows everywhere else. So for everybody, it feels different. So you could generally feel hot or cold, tingling, pins and needles. You might feel nothing at all. It just sort of goes to where you need to. But there's so many different healing modalities that you can do and have that help with different things, past life, DNA, all that sort of stuff. There's so much to it.
What's DNA?
Like your DNA, like the structure of your DNA and stuff, and helping to heal. Yeah, it's really interesting.
No, I have problems with my eyes. Maybe it's because I'm staring too much there. I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm going like that at the screen all the time. I'm surprised all the time. Or I've a problem with my eyes, and I've a problem then with my lower back. So, is there any way that you, in a way, how would you do that if I had a problem with my eyes? Would you use the upper, like channel through the upper body myself?
Yeah, so you could just like channel in through the energy, and whether I'm with you in person or if we did it, because like everything's energy, I don't actually need to be with you to do it. But yeah, we can channel it through for your eyes or for your back, as well as giving, like looking at you holistically and seeing where that comes from and how to help that, and other things to add on as well.
And like I'm just going to go through. There's a few examples of you do aromatherapy, and there's you obviously use different sorts of oils. So I'm just going to name a list of kind of oils and what they are used for. So if that's okay, is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Okay. I'll try.
So I love lavender. I love it myself. My wife Jennifer, she's watching as well. She says that it makes her go to a different place, lavender. But what is lavender used for?
It's used for so many different things. It's known as the mother of all oils because it has so many different benefits to it. So it helps like with bruising and swelling. So if you have a wee bruise and putting a bit of lavender on it, it's good for relaxation. So just having a wee smell of it, loads of room sprays and stuff for lavender. But fun fact that if you have too much lavender, it has the opposite effect. So if you have one of those lavender room sprays and you're spraying, and you're wondering, this doesn't work for me, it's because you're overusing it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because you can't get
so proud of that fact.
I know. I love that fact.
My wife Jennifer, yeah, she says that she can see stuff with it there. Obviously she's used too much of it there. But anyway, I don't have to put any links aftershave on because I'm great with that. There's no lavender going around.
Yeah.
But anyway, tea tree oil. What's that used for?
That's like antiseptic. So being able to put that on. Just completely went blank there. Yeah, it's antiseptic. You could put it on like spots and stuff, or if you want to use it in like cleaning products as well. Lavender and tea tree are the only essential oils that you can use undiluted on the skin. Okay. Every other essential oil you have to mix with a carrier oil. So they're good because you can just put them in the bath, or you can just apply them where you need it. Like, it's quite interesting.
And finally, there I'm going to mention one more, like eucalyptus. There, what's that used for?
Would be the same as tea tree, but it's really good for any, we call that congestion. So if you have a bowl of steamy water and put a wee bit of eucalyptus in it, and you put a towel over your head, that's good for helping to relieve any like congestion. Any sort of blockness in your system. I can't speak. And in the shower as well, if you have a shower and you put it in the bottom, the steam, it's really, really good.
That's probably, that might help my eyes as well there.
Yeah.
I've just got, because I think it's to do with whether it's pollen or something like that affects me as well there.
Yeah.
Jonathan says that was helpful. Thank you. I think that's to do with starting up your own team, Caoimhe there. Derek says it's so true. I think he's concurring with what you said there, Caoimhe. Jenny, hi Jenny from Emerald Isle Paranormal Researchers. I know she's got a show on tonight as well. I think she's interviewing Barry John there. She's jumping in and saying hello. How you doing, Jenny? Joanne says, I've had recce sessions, very interesting. The images I had of spirit guides was a positive experience. I recommend it. So you can do it on a spiritual level, can't you? And is that true, Diane?
Yeah, it helps deepen your connection with spirit, with your spirit guides, with ancestors, with that sort of realm. It's beautiful. It's such a good positive experience that you've had. Yeah.
Jonathan says, Old Spice. Yeah, that's all coming into fashion. It's coming back in again. Old Spice, New Spice, Sporty Spice, everything there. Jenny also says, I use hemp for cracked, dry skin.
Yeah. Hemp's great. Has so many different benefits. For like muscle pain as well, and for dry skin.
We're going to be talking, I suppose, about the Catholic Church in the future there, in the future, but in the next later on in the show. But I remember a bishop came out and disapproved of recce. Do you reckon? What's your belief in that? What's your opinion on that?
I feel like because recce is so old. Excuse me, it's so ancient, like it's shamanic in its roots. I believe that that's sort of like what Jesus and stuff was doing, you know, the healing, laying on of hands and stuff, because that's what it is. And I think sometimes the church just don't like people thinking that other people are able to do that. Do you know what I mean that way?
Yes, I understand that. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I know with scrying that's been mentioned in the they use divination to try and find out who would be the next disciple after Judas. Judas left, so they used divination to the apostles to by chance to try and find out who the next apostle would be there. Joanne says, arnica is a brilliant for bruising.
Yeah, really good for any aches and pains and swelling. That's what's in loads of like deep heat and all those sort of muscle oils.
Okay. So we're going to go on to the next subject, but before that, we're going to do the lottery jar here. I'm going to see I'm going to pick a couple of about 3 names to see who's going to be in with a chance. All right, Siobhan says, hi Siobhan, you got your name in there quick, put into the lottery jar. Hi Siobhan, how you doing? You're in the draw as well there. So if you're watching, please comment now, say hi. You're going into the lottery jar, sorry. Only got 2 more seconds. I'm going to draw them out. Okay, here we go. Wait there, here we go. Get a winner. Here we go. Jenny. Jenny's gone. I don't know if Jenny's there, so I'm going to put her name down, but I think she'll be going. She won't be around, so you're kind of lucky, folks. It is Ebony. My wife has put the daughter's name down there, our daughter's name. Here we go. We've got number 2. Joanne, you're in there. Joanne Breen. I'm just going to pick out another one just in case Joanne goes away or falls asleep. With me, not with you, ladies. You're brilliant there. It's because of me. We've got to pick another one. And Siobhan, you're so lucky there. You just got to have to hope that you could go over and disrupt Joanne and maybe get her not to be on later on the show. So we've got to touch on the next subject there, folks. And it's going to be about the Manor House and situated in Rathlin Island, County Armagh. Can you tell us there, Caoimhe, first of all, what can you tell us, explain where the house is and how did you come across it?
So basically the Manor House is in Rathlin Island.
Sorry, I said it wrong. I'm sorry.
So basically we drove to Ballycastle and got the ferry from Ballycastle over to Rathlin, and it's a very, very small wee island. Lovely. Very little like cars. We were actually coming off the ferry and there was sails sitting on the rocks, like just chilling. Just it's very, very obviously not city like, but it's just something.
So solitude, like it's
Yeah,
isolated.
it's just
Yeah.
a lovely wee place. Even on the way back on the ferry, there was dolphins coming up beside the boat, and like it was a stunning. It's a stunning island. And the house itself is just stunning. Like from the outside of it, it's just beautiful. And I think that's actually what drove me to like reaching out and asking if we could investigate it, because how I came across it was I was just researching places up this side of the country, because they're very few and far between up here, I found. So I was just like researching, looking at old houses, and Google told me about this one, and I went and I checked their Facebook, and then eventually I emailed them, and we were actually supposed to go twice before, but just things kept popping up, so it just kept getting pushed back. But yeah, it was. I think it was just the whole. It was almost like calling to me.
It's a type of Georgian building, is that correct? And
yeah.
It's built around the 1700s, is that right?
I think it was the 18th century. Could be around the 1700s, but I'm not 100% sure. And we were like the second team to ever investigate it, which to me is just crazy. The first team was Ghost Hunters International.
Okay, yeah.
But then I went and I had a nosy at what they found, and what they found was nowhere near what we found. We got, well, from what we seen, what I seen, but the island itself is steeped in history. It was one of the first places that the Vikings invaded on the way over to come to Ireland. And there was like 2 or 3 massacres on there. To this day, they're still finding bones.
You mentioned the Ghost Hunters International now, because I haven't seen that episode. Do you reckon they got less? What you got there? And what?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Well, from what I've seen, I mean, it's only like an hour, 40-minute episode. Do you know what I mean? From what I've seen.
Okay.
I kind of went. I was going to myself, maybe it's not what I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, completely exceeded my expectations. Like, it was amazing. I actually said to Diane, because it was her first investigation, and I was going there, please don't expect this to be like something you see in Ghost Adventures, because it's not. And you might sit there bored half the night. And then I brought her there, and I was like, this is probably one of the worst places I could have brought her for a first investigation, because now she's going to expect that every time. From the minute we arrived and started investigating, it was just boom, 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 like one thing after the other. Like, I was amazed. I was completely in awe of the activity that was going on. And we so I ended up reaching out to members of Rathlin Island, and I kind of was like, look, we're investigating, can you tell us, have you had any experiences, you know, what history is? And I didn't tell any of them. That's something I like to keep to myself, just so I know. And the stories I was getting was just insane. There's a sweet thing on the island called a Gruger.
Okay.
It's apparently like some small wee leprechaun looking thing.
Okay. It's like a type of fairy, so is it like an elemental?
I'm not 100% sure. When I've asked, they've just kind of, there's never really a clear answer. I just know it's small, and most people just say it looks like a leprechaun, but it calls itself the Gruger. The Gruger actually made itself known to us in the minute we turned on the spirit box. Okay. We asked, and I wish we had got it on record, but it was like in between, like switching the equipment, and I just happened to turn it on, and we just know at the very start when you're not ready to record, and So I think someone said, like, can you tell us your name or something like that? And it came through straight away, clear as day, Grieger.
Okay.
And multiple people were able to turn around and go, that just said Grieger. So it wasn't like it was me that just was imagining it. The fact that other people were able to say it.
Yeah. And do you reckon it was a way that? Do you reckon it was like a spirit recognizing that this entity was around, or was it the actual entity?
I'm not sure. Because every experience that I was told of the Grieger was really positive.
Okay.
There was a story I was told back at the time when people were living in it, because it's now a hotel. So back in the time when this was someone's home,
Right.
they were kind of, God, I'd say in the 18th century, maybe late 18th century, they were having like a party. And the owner, the woman of the house, was just like, I'm not feeling it, I'm going to go to bed. So she took herself up and into bed. And, the party went on, and there was obviously people staying at her home. So she went to bed, fell asleep, and she said she woke up, and there was this small wee fella standing at the side of her bed, pulling her, waking her up.
Okay.
And kept pulling her by the hand, and she was going, like, she was obviously going, like, what is this? What's going on? Like, petrified probably. And she says, well, from what I was told, apparently, it took her by the hand and led her down to a room. And this was the time when you had candles, instead of lights. They brought her down into this room where someone was staying. And when she opened the door, there was... So the fella came up with the candle, drunk, put the candle down, and the curtains, he had left the window open, and the wind blew and the curtains caught fire. And he was passed out and had absolutely no idea that his room was on fire. So they think that the Grieger had woke the owner of the house, the lady of the house,
Right.
to bring her down, to let her know, hey, your room is on fire.
Oh God.
There was another.
Well, no, I mean, in a life-saving way, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's okay.
There was another instance which I found very, very strange, considering that story, where the fire alarms kept going off, and this was recently. This was within the last 10 years. The fire alarm kept going off, and the owners then were just kind of like, maybe it's just old wiring. We'll get the fire brigade out and have to let the fire brigade look. So the firemen come over, and they looked at all the wires, they rewired them, and this kept happening. And they called the firemen out again, and the firemen were just like, we have absolutely no explanation for why these alarms keep going off. We don't have any clue. Okay. There's been so many.
That happens in a few places, but it's kind of an interesting element that does happen to these
places. Because
places.
that story, I was kind of like,
it's kind of connected. The fire.
Then there was another one of a girl that lived there with her husband at the time. He was the caretaker. And every time she walked past the fireplace, can't remember, I think it might have been the fire alarms again. Or it was something to do with fire. It was like an alarm type thing anyway. Every time she walked past this fireplace, the alarm kept going off, to the point that she was like, she knew the minute she walked past this fireplace, she's going to have to run to try and turn that alarm off, because the alarm's going to go off straight away.
Oh, wow.
And again, they got people out to look at it, and the people were like, you don't have any explanation for this. The stories, there was just so many. You know what I mean? There was just loads. There was ones of people getting locked in rooms, but the rooms were being locked in. You couldn't lock them. You couldn't. Whatever kind of locks there were, you couldn't physically lock them from the inside.
And so we'll come back to you there, Caoimhe. Diane, what before we come to your comments there, folks, as well, we're going to show some footage from the investigation Caoimhe did, and Diane. what was your first? What's your impressions? Because I know it was kind of. I remember we going to an island in County Cork. I won't mention the island there, but we brought somebody new onto the team that day, and unfortunately, they drove us there, and their van broke down, and we were camping on the island, and a tent leaked, and so she didn't have a great time. So that was a bad experience. She never joined us again. Sorry for it. But this experience, was it great for you as well?
Yeah. I'm so happy that was my first experience off it. Beautiful island, beautiful location, and to have like such good activity as well. Like that was incredible. We had, like, from the moment we had went in, like I had no expectation because I had never been on an investigation before. But like I was blown away by it. Like it was incredible. And for it to be like such a positive experience as well, like there was nothing like seriously sinister there, like the whole time that we were there. It was great.
Well, I mean, that's debatable. The sinister bit is debatable.
Apart from one bit, yeah, but other than that, it was quite good.
We actually commented on it the minute we walked in about how comfortable the whole location was.
Yeah.
You know, the energy was just very homey, very comfortable. Yeah. Nobody felt that they were walking on eggshell, or you know that feeling you get when you do go into a place where you know there's activity. We didn't get any of that. We said so many times we felt so comfortable.
Yeah.
As you said there, you probably watched the show Ghost Hunters International. Do you watch that before you went there?
I did, yeah.
Well, did that so in the terms of how did you prepare for that location? What kind of experiments and equipment did you think were required? Like,
so we brought, again, when I watched the documentary, there was just really nothing. You know, there wasn't really much experiments they did. It was more just camera footage, or sounds. You know, like the tapping sounds. You know, there wasn't anything that I was completely blown away by. So again, I wasn't really expecting much when I went, but we just kind of brought, like, you know, like cat balls. They asked us not to bring any type of spirit board, so we didn't. We brought cat balls, SLS. We brought loads. We brought loads, but we ended up not using loads. You know, we ended up using kind of the same stuff over again because that's what we were getting the most on.
Yeah.
We're going to show a bit of footage soon now. I'm just going to come to a few of the comments people been putting in there. Derek says, love to do an investigation there in Ballycastle a few weeks ago. Really cool place. Love to get out there. I don't know if that could be Ballycastle.
Ballycastle.
Yeah, she says it again. Really interesting up there. Even Ballycastle is really interesting town. Because I know Derek's been up there. Have you know that castle?
That's just the name of the town. Ballycastle. It's just the name.
Well, that's a big place then. That's a big investigation. Joanne says, I have no doubt the rest of Seekers would love to investigate this location. It looks so interesting. Derek says, I have got locked in rooms in a few places. It's so cool but scary at the same time. I noticed that we did an investigation at an old church, and we noticed the door was locking, and then we tried to open it. It would open sometimes, but it would not open at some times. But there was a trouble with the lock at all. But it was kind of interesting. It was weird. It was a spooky place anyway.
Yeah.
Jonathan says, was there any demonic or good happening when you were there, and did you get any EVPs? Well, we're going to talk to that now. We're going to show some footage soon there, Jonathan. Derek says, that's the town, mate. Joanne says, was there any room that felt negative?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't like throwing the term demonic away. I think that just kind of instills a fear in people that, I mean, it doesn't really need to be there, because the chances of it being demonic, slim to none, you know what I mean? So I don't like throwing that term about. However, saying that, there was a room that we ended up calling the Devil's Room.
Okay.
Because there was actually an exorcism that took place inside the room.
Okay, that's right, yeah.
And that was the room we didn't have a very nice experience in.
The only room, really.
The only room.
Everywhere else was positive.
And one of our team members were staying there in that room that night, and he was actually threatened. We were doing the Estes method, and we were told that whatever it was that was there, we kind of was like, well, is he going to be safe staying here? Because if he's not safe, he's not staying there. He's coming out and he's going to stay in a different room. And even the people that worked in the hotel, the staff, the owners, they're like, this is the only room that we don't feel comfortable in.
Okay.
As soon as we leave that room, we're fine. So yeah, we were kind of like, is he going to be safe here? Like,
yeah.
Are you so okay with him being here? And it actually told us that it was wanting to harm him.
Yeah.
And he actually still stayed in that room that night against my wishes. But I mean, he's a fully grown man, and I can't trail him out of the room.
No.
So he stayed there that night, but just my foot was getting grabbed.
My neck
Diane, her neck was grabbed as well when she was in the bathroom by herself.
Right.
Caoimhe was also touched. And me and Caoimhe were touched right after the other, which I found weird, because Caoimhe was actually the one doing the Estes method. So she never heard that I was touched. I had my foot hanging off the bed, and I can't even remember what I was saying, but it was like something just, like at my foot, and I jumped, and I was like, what the, who the just grabbed my foot? Like there was a lot of swearing. I freaked out. I was like, what is that? And literally, just as I sat myself back down, Caoimhe, was like, she took the headphones off, and she was like, oh, I don't like that. And I was like, well, what happened? I think I turned around, I was like, who just touched me? And then she took them off and was like, oh, I don't like that. And I was like, well, but what did that say? And she was like, I don't know what it said, but I don't like what touched me. And she didn't know that I was touched moments before it. And then the thing with Diane, even just the things we were getting through.
Yeah.
That room was just not.
So it's one particular bad egg, you could say, bad apple, and a wonderful pack of apples, you could say.
It wouldn't put me off going again. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't make me feel. I actually didn't feel safe in that room. We couldn't get out of that room quick enough. But it wouldn't make me feel unsafe in the whole.
Yes. Well, if it's something demonic like that, it could be nothing. As I say, as I say, because it would really. What if we look at anything to go by the Bible of movies? Then we would have to, go with something a lot more drastic than that. Understandably, though, Diane, you said your neck was grabbed, was it?
Yeah, whenever we were doing, so I had, the headphones on and was listening to the spirit box, and I wasn't in there for that long. I was sitting in the bathroom in the dark, and they were asking questions, and nothing was coming through. It was just the noise of the radio, and could feel just like a hand over my neck. And I was like, I'm just imagining this, and I could just feel it getting tighter and tighter until I just jumped up and was like, no, I don't like that. Like, I'm not sitting in there doing that. It just wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
And usually I don't mind stuff like that, but
that's some first investigation compared to what my friend was. She drove us and the car broke down, suspension went, and she contempt was wet. I think yours was worse. I'm joking. Brian says, enjoying the show, guys. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
hello.
Love you and Veronica, Belfast Paranormal Investigators. Hi, Brian. Derek says we had a similar kind of thing in Killarney a few years ago. That was the first time I wanted to leave an investigation, but stuck it out. Yeah, Derek's part of our team, GhostÉire. And Jonathan says that's because he was with me at the time. He wanted just to get it away from me. I grabbed him by the throat. No, he grabbed me by the throat. I would stay there for a week, says Jonathan. That's great there. So I'll join you there as well, Jonathan. Derek will have
I think we would all stay there for a week. The energy,
Yeah.
It'd be
even
wonderful.
taking that room into consideration, the energy in the house is just lovely. Even like, now to be fair, I kind of freaked myself out a wee bit. But to be fair to myself, right, we were only after that investigation, right? And I was staying on the bottom floor and everyone else was up on the top floor. And I was by myself, and every time I looked at my windows, it was just like woods. Like there was nothing for me to look at, and I was like, I can't stay here. So I ended up saying to Diane that I was like, Diane, can I like share a bit with you? Because I'm terrified. So me and Diane, I think it took us about roughly about an hour to kind of like calm ourselves down, and we were laying in bed, and we kept hearing this walking up and down the hall, and I was like, who's out of their bed like at this time? Like what? So you know, you get up and you go and have a wee joke to see what's happening, who's out, what's going on. Nobody was there. Everyone was in their beds, and I walked to the top. Well, the two of us, we walked from the top of the hall to the bottom of the hall, and it was one of these ones like you can see every door. You can see everything. So if someone was out or the door was closing, we would have seen it. So we were just like, right, whatever. We went back and went to bed, and we woke up the next morning and we were all sat down having breakfast, and we had said, we were like, oh, here there was, we kept hearing people walking up and down the hall, and 3 or 4 other people turned around and was like, oh yeah, we heard that too, but we thought it was one of you, so we're just coming back from the investigation. So it was just a very, very active place. But then again, it hadn't been investigated in so long. So the spirits were literally just busting to communicate, you know.
And before we carry on, we're going to show a bit of the footage of the investigation. So this is from the investigation from Rathlin Island. I think hopefully this is the 3 minutes length video there. So if not, I'm going to have to quickly switch it there, folks. So this is FL Paranormal Investigators at Rathlin Island, Manor House. No, sorry, it's not that one. Sorry, it's the other video. Wait there, I'm going to show the other video. This is the, wait there, sorry. Okay, sorry now. We'll put this up, sorry now, folks. It is up here. You wouldn't get this on RT, would you? There, just and hopefully this is the video again. So here we go. No, it's not that one. It's this one. So listening to this, folks, we're going to mute us there.
Ryan, do you want to try a few questions again? Anything that comes into your head at all?
Have you been here long?
Shadow board.
Is that music?
No, if they stand over that, they can't set them off.
Is that if something moves over it?
Yeah.
It's hard to think of.
Just talk it like you're talking to me.
Or anything, you know. Could be the
Ask him
same,
his
you don't
age.
know.
Ask him what age is. Oh, yeah. Answered it for you, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And K2.
Are we well compared tonight? Would you light up one of these if we go with the VR, please?
K2's gone off again.
Thank you.
Oh.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you. Could you turn the torch off for us now, please? That's it. Take our energy, but don't drain us.
All the way off, please.
All the way off.
It's close to me. It's probably going, what the fuck's all this? How can they see me do this?
Yeah.
And it's different ones, do you see that?
Every time.
Yeah.
It's
like, yeah. We're very impressed.
Now, see if you can do that. Can you set off one of the wee balls right next to you? And that'll change colours.
if you need help, you could use our energy as long as you don't drain us. And see if you could do it. It would be wonderful.
He says no, even not listening to you.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other spirits on with you here?
Okay. Do you like it when Ryan stays here? That's good. Right, I still love it too.
Do you like it when Antonio stays there?
Hold on, can you turn the switch the torch off, please?
Yeah.
Can you turn the torch off, please?
Let's turn all the way off, please.
I don't think whoever this is.
So it would help if I unmuted myself. So who was making contact there, Caoimhe? Or would you know?
We're not 100% sure. That was actually before we turned the spirit box on and got the name Gruger. But what we do know is that the fella, his name's just slipped my mind, Ran. What we do know is that this particular spirit took a really, really, really nice fancy into Ran. And we'd often climb in bed with him.
Okay.
And things like that. So that's why when it was asked, do you like it when Rand stays here? And the torch came on immediately, we all burst out laughing because there's actually an inside joke to that where on the island they kind of said that, oh, like he's in a relationship with this ghost loves it, and he's just kind of basically been known as the ghost boy. So that was kind of an inside joke that we had found out previous to our investigation. So we kind of just found it really funny.
I'm just going to show another bit of clip there now. So this is another bit. This is one. This is about 16 seconds long. We're just going to show this there.
Or even the one beside Shannon, please.
Oh, brilliant, thank you.
Very good. So, could you light up if you're male, a boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think his name's Tom.
Who?
Tom.
And is that who is Tom? Is that the same person that was communicating before?
I can't remember if it was the same person that was communicating with us down in the manager suite where the first video was took. The name Tom just kind of popped into my head randomly, and I was like, is his name Tom? But that room was actually a very sad room where that where the short video took place. 3 of us actually ended up in tears. So basically, it was a young man that committed suicide.
Okay.
And I think it kind of hit a personal note with 3 members because 3 of us had dealt with a death by suicide. So I think it just hit very, very close to home. But the whole thing itself was very, very sad. But I actually think that turned out to be a spirit that was help pass on, kind of come back and just kind of go, oh, well, thanks, just kind of passing by. I don't think that was one that was a resident there.
Okay. And so if you were to go back up, go there again there, Caoimhe, is it worth further tests there yourself as a person or yourself as a team?
100%.
Sure.
That house has so much to tell, and one night wasn't enough. The island itself, we were coming up there and people were going, here, have you tried here? Here, you should try here. There's actually a cottage as well that the locals are terrified of. But it's it would be a case of whether it was safe or not to investigate, because of the condition of it. But the island itself, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if I saw it a few years ago. Then there was like something that it was a lighthouse there. There's a lighthouse there. It's one of the most haunted lighthouses, or it's for sale or something was. Like that.
So when I reached out to Bonnie, that's the receptionist in the Manor House, Bonnie, I kind of put forward the idea that the lighthouse might also be interested because they were experiencing stuff too. I put forward the idea to the lighthouse. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I got the wrong email, or maybe they're just not interested in it being investigated, but there was never any reply from it. But Bonnie was able to say that the lighthouse and the staff in the lighthouse were experiencing things too.
Okay. We just got a few shout outs there. Derek says that would be cool. Joanne says the paranormal hangover is real after you offered up your energy there. I suppose that's what was in the video there. Probably, I don't know if somebody said you can use my energy. We use that a lot.
Use our energy, don't drain it.
Yeah, that's it. It does feel. Oh God, some investigations can be so tiring there. Like, you know, I actually did a UFO watch a couple of weeks ago, and actually it was kind of relaxing not to be running around. It was just looking up at the sky, lying down, looking up at the sky, and I felt it was great. We were actually, because we were looking up, we could just talk to each other about family stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it was more relaxing there. We saw cool stuff there, but it was an enjoyable investigation. That's something a bit different. We're just going to go and show. So, Joanne, if you still, I don't know if Jenny, I don't think Jenny's going to comment, unfortunately. She's got a live show. But, Joanne, you have the choice here. Instead, we're going to go to you. If you can just quickly pick which one of these coloured doorways of the chapel does the crowman come out of. You got a choice between the red, the blue, the green, and the orange there, Joanne. So pick a colour there. Hopefully you'll have a chance to get in there. We'll give you a few seconds now. Diane, you already picked one there, and with this is they don't know, Diane or Caoimhe, which colour the crowman comes out of. But Diane, you picked green, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Caoimhe, you picked blue. So at the end of the show, we'll find out. We'll find out there if you both go into one of you gets a chance to go into the competition. Joanne, if you're still there. Oh, Joanne's picked blue as well, so she's joined Caoimhe on blue. Okay, we'll see now. We'll see at the end of the show if you're both lucky, Caoimhe and Joanne. So the next subject we're going to be talking about is a fairly serious case, very interesting though, and it's to do with the Annalise Michelle exorcism. I'm going to talk to Caoimhe first of all, if anything else comes across there, Caoimhe, before we go into more detail. Can you tell us where did you first come across this incident?
Again, I think The Exorcist of Emily Rose was one of the first horror movies I watched. And I remember I was sat at the caravan, me and my daddy watching it, and he just kind of mentioned to me, "Oh, do you know that's based off a real life story?" And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" Because it was also new to me. You know, I was a child. I was like, what do you mean? What's going on? Like, and then I just kind of, I would say after a few years, I hadn't watched it for a few years because it really, really scared me. Okay. And then once I hit about 13, 14, I watched it again. Yes. And I remember that my daddy had said that, and I was like, I'm going to see if he's actually telling me the truth. So I want to see if that movie is based off a real case. And that's when I found Annalise's story.
Yeah. So what I was going to go into as well is, I suppose, if people don't know the story, can you tell us a bit about her upbringing and her mental, her physical, her general state of health?
So basically, she was brought up a really devout Catholic. You know, she attended mass a couple of times a week. It was her mummy was actually extremely religious, and her mummy would have told her throughout her childhood that the only way people can be forgiven for their sins is if other people suffer for them, which to me, but it's something to that extent. They might not have been the exact words, but basically something to that extent, which to me is just crazy. But yeah, she ended up, she went to university and stuff like that, and when she was 16 she had her first fit.
Epilepsy was it? Yeah.
She was later diagnosed with frontal lobe epilepsy or something like that.
Frontal lobe, I think it was something like that.
Frontal lobe, I think.
Frontal lobe.
And they kind of give her, you know, when she was diagnosed, she was given medication. And now the thing to know, I'm not a doctor by any means. I am not an exorcist by any means. This is just purely off what I have learned through research. There is no type of drug or medicine that can completely cure epilepsy.
True, yes.
But to me, the drug that she was on cured enough for her to continue to go to university and continue to maintain relationships, you know.
Yes.
So it worked, but maybe not to the extent that she would have liked it.
Yes, so probably side effects, I suppose.
Yeah.
With any kind of drug.
The other thing was that she was also diagnosed with schizophrenia as well. And there's this syndrome called Georgian syndrome, I think it's called. Maybe I've pronounced that wrong. Okay. But that is a side effect of both the epilepsy and schizophrenia. And what that does is that basically, the side effects of that are hyper religious, like, so you're really, really over into your religious thing. Yeah. I forgot the word for it, hyper religiosity or whatever it's called. And extreme irritability, which, as we know, irritability and hallucinations and
hearing voices and
that all, you're schizophrenic. Do you know what I mean? But there are all signs of what we would know to be demonic possession. So basically she went to a priest, a few local priests, and they kind of said to her,
did she, I don't, forgive me now if I don't, if you, did she personally go to the priest, or did her mother and father go, family?
Yeah, so she went along with her family.
Yeah.
And they kind of just said they're like, seek medical help, seek mental help, you know. And sure, anyways, we have to kind of get permission from a bishop, so just seek medical help, which to me kind of speaks volumes, you know. I think it was actually maybe the third or fourth priest that went to that kind of believed that she was possessed, which, I mean, three priests before it turned around and just says seek medical help. You know, that says a lot to me. So then they eventually came in to contact with Father Alst, who then went on and got permission for the exorcism. But the condition was that it had to be complete secrecy. Which, and then I suppose at the time, The Exorcist had just came out in Germany as well, a year before.
Yes, it's around that time, wasn't it? Yeah, 1976 she died, and I think she was under the product of exorcisms for 2 years previous, so it's around that time, isn't it?
No, I think she actually, the exorcisms took place of a span within 10 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was a very, very short span of time. I'd say maybe a year and a half for the whole thing. Well, depending, if we're going to go from when she was 16, when she thinks it started, it lasted years. But if we're going to talk about from when she met Father Alst to her time of death, it was, I'd say, maybe a year and a half, maybe under. So he went and he got the permission for the exorcism, but it had to be complete secrecy. But then again, I feel that this, you know, this was a young girl who was already extremely, extremely religious. You know, her whole family was extremely religious. And, you know, her mother actually said that this was put on her before she was even born because of her own sins, as in her own mother's sins. Her mum had a child out of wedlock.
Okay.
And her mother thought that there was some people in the local community that kind of cursed her first child within wedlock, which would have been Annalise. So her mother said that this was already put on her before she was even born. Then again, there was if I turn around you and I go, here, the sky's blue, and Diane goes to you, the sky's pink, and Diane goes, the sky's pink, and everyone in your circle is telling you the sky's pink. But at one point you're going to go, okay, maybe that sky is pink.
True, yes. With the case with exorcisms, there's always an external force around you to guide you to where you're supposed to go. So it's indoctrinated in our beliefs. It's those that are around us that actually bring the person who is channeling or possessed to the higher authority, the religious authority there. Diane, what's your, I'll come back to you more on this as well, Caoimhe, but Diane, how did you recognize this kind of case?
From Caoimhe. Caoimhe had mentioned it to me, and I had done like some research on it. I had watched The Exorcism of Emily Rose years ago, but I didn't realize that it was based off this. Crazy. Whenever I was sitting researching it, I'm really sad.
It is. It's
really sad.
And Caoimhe, that I was going to say would you say that she was let down by her family, the health authorities, the university as well, and the Catholic Church? I
mean, she was let down in every form. You know, as where was the duty of care to her? You know, for the likes of being in university, where was her lecturer's duty of care when they noticed that she wasn't turning up? When they noticed that she was having these seizures, when they noticed all this, where was their duty of care to her? And then as a parent, I could never imagine turning around to any of my kids and saying, you're possessed by the devil. It's, to me, my automatic thing would be, okay, there's something mentally here that needs to be addressed. And then with the church, now the thing is, say when it comes to exorcisms, a priest has the right to deny an exorcism on basis of mental health. So he could go ahead and Annalise could turn around to Father Alson and went, yeah, I consent to this. He could have got the go ahead from the bishop, and he could have looked at her and went, you're not mentally stable to go through this. But he didn't. And, you know, there's a whole process that builds up to, okay, yes, you can have an exorcism, and you have to explore every medical possibility. You know, and she was never, she was diagnosed with epilepsy, and she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So how could they turn around to her and go, yeah, no, you're definitely possessed, it's not that. And when it came to court, Father Alts actually stated she didn't look epileptic. And what does an epileptic look like? Do you know what I mean? You can't see epilepsy. You know, what does that look like? That was a completely ridiculous statement that came from someone that she completely put her faith and trust in.
Yeah.
And I mean, even 67 exorcisms lasting 4 hours at a time, that is exhausting for anyone, you know, and him priest included too. You know, it's a battle for your soul. And
we're just going to go touch on a bit more as well with it. I'm just got a few shout outs and opinions and statements there. Hi, Seeker James, how you doing there? Don't, if I say anything bad, Seeker, don't knock me down, because I know you're a good man. I've seen you on karate there. I'm not going to say anything bad, but hi, no, love you. Hi, Seeker James. Joanne says some very interesting locations in County Wexford. If you're ever down this direction, would be great to meet for an investigation. Yeah, that's definitely true. I think Joanne said an invite as well. Same here on the southwest. You're more welcome to come down here, Diane and Caoimhe. Just let us know.
Thank you. We'd love to.
Poor girl didn't stand a chance, surrounded by a very religiously opinionated family. And Derek says, so true, Joanne. It's crazy there. As we go on to that, there, maybe you can tell us then, how did Annalise die, and what was this?
So, officially, she died by malnutrition and starvation and dehydration. But I mean, I suppose that depends on who you ask. You know, I'm not saying in any way this girl wasn't possessed, and I'm not saying that she was. I don't have the ability to make that decision. What I will say is her death could have been prevented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it'd have been a week before her death. You know, if someone's not eating, someone's not drinking, you don't go ahead and perform probably one of the most hardest, powerful rituals that exist. You know, you don't do it because their body is physically not able to keep up. It's emotionally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. And when it came to court, her parents and both priests were actually found guilty. And I think they were sentenced to like 9 months. Well, the priests were sentenced to 9 months. But it was like extended sentences or whatever it is, meaning basically they didn't have to be any jail time.
Suspended sentence.
Yeah.
And
her parents, again, the judge kind of said, well, they've suffered enough, which to me is no justice for that poor girl at all.
And in death, I don't think there was any much justice as well, because to some, the place where she's buried is a shrine, but in other aspects, then people have done nasty stuff to it as well, you know.
Yeah.
We're going to touch a bit more. Do you think would there be another case like this in the future?
I hope not. I can't see it. The thing is, you know, we look at Annalise's case, and she was doing things like ripping her clothes off, biting heads off dead birds, licking her own urine off the floor. At one point, she crawled under her table and barked like a dog for 2 days straight, was squatting 400 times a day, and there was just all this stuff going on that any person nowadays would look at and go, this is a young woman who is in severe need of help with her mental health. Like, and I think us as a whole, as in the whole world, has came so far with mental health that it's not such a taboo thing anymore, where people can go, okay, maybe that is what it is. Maybe she's not actually possessed. Maybe it is just her mental health. And I mean, like, this girl was having suicidal thoughts and everything. She was self-harming as well. You know, there's all signs point to mental health. And then on top of that, I'm touching back on the actual possession itself here. So on top of that, like, if you listen to the tapes, it's, I don't want to say it's comical because it's not, but
you can't believe what's happening.
Like, there was one point, so she was apparently possessed by sorry, I actually have them written down here.
Because 13 was it 13 demons?
But it's actually six. In the Ashes of Emily Rose, they exaggerated it as usual. Whereas I do have it written down here somewhere. Where is that?
Well, Derek asks there, how old was she when she died?
23.
23.
Very, very young girl. So she was partly possessed by Lucifer, Cain, Nero, Judas, Hitler, and priest, disgraced priest, Father Fleischmann, and I mean, we know human souls cannot possess, you know, but that's we know that. What makes Hitler different?
It's I'm going to make a little statement here there as well. So we're going to talk. I'm going to ask for both of you what your opinions are on this there. So in May, the Vatican made a new document on apparitions, nihil obstat, which means nothing hinders. Supernatural guidelines. These were supernatural guidelines, taking a more cautious approach. I want to know off both of you, is this a good or bad thing, as because it's not recognizing the paranormal, the guidelines, but there's no barrier to worship. This is in terms of marrying apparitions, as you would say, seeing Knock and Fatima, and also, but there's a tendency to be against the frown upon fraud. So first of all, Diane, what would your feelings be towards this? What happened last May with the Vatican there? Do you reckon it's kind of, I know they've got one aspect of it, like fraud and all that, you know, but are they sort of stepping back from, well, they've taken just believing what they want to believe in marrying apparitions so that they keep up their parishioners coming.
100%. I really do feel like that. I feel like there's so much within the books that we don't see, or things that get changed, that they cover so much up that way. Yeah, and I think it is just sort of what they want to put out, they'll put out, and what they want us to see and know, and what they instill into us. You know, that way.
And yourself, Caoimhe, what do you think about that?
Well, firstly, I think it's very typical of the church to kind of back off from this kind of stuff. You know, paranormal type of stuff is very frowned upon when it comes to the church. I actually remember there was one time in my own home, my little girl was coming for, and she was experiencing things. And my home was a new build, you know, so I went to my local priest and I said to my priest, hey, like, can you come and bless my home? That was it. And they told me no. They don't want anything to do with that. And that was the exact words.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, priest offers his blessings at the end of a.
So I just kind of done it myself with holy water and was like, I'll try my best. But yeah, I think it's very typical of the church to do things like that until it suits them.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone says, oh, but then again, I mean, it goes back to mental health too. If someone was to turn around to me and go, oh yeah, I seen the Virgin Mary, I'd go, you're actually all right in the head. But you know, it goes back to it's. I don't know. I think it's good that, you know, not everything is going to be put down to paranormal.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like, you know, the paranormal has existed from the beginning of time. It states it in the Bible, you know, demons and ghosts. It's all there in the Bible. It was taught days, you know, like this. How can they now turn around and go, we don't want really anything to do with it, when this is what they've taught us. This is what they've preached to us the whole way throughout my whole life. It's, I don't know, I don't have an awful lot of time for the church.
Just going to go to a few comments there. Joanne says the Vatican is the most corrupt institution. You know, I suppose we have to sort of, the Vatican can't back itself up on this show, which it did. That would be crazy. Make it could be more followers. No, I love everyone. I love everyone's watching there. But I suppose like the Emily Rose kind of film, it sort of backed up the religion in that sort of way there, you know. And I suppose we, you know, what these people's beliefs are, we can't sort of, you know, go against as well. You know, it was unfortunate for that person, and I think it still goes on today. We just hope it doesn't happen in the future, but I know there is some sort of parts. I know there was an interesting documentary going back about 10 years ago in Poland, and it was on the Irish TV. It showed you the exorcisms that happened in Poland, and there still were people there. And actually, eventually, I think it was one girl, and eventually she left her family, and everything stopped. There was no demons at all there. Yeah, it's crazy. Like we had doing is the same as them. It's just all with power. Adam, hey, how you doing, Adam? Adam says the Vatican are very open to the idea of alien life, but as to go to more local level, it can be hit and miss how each parish handles the paranormal. Yes, I know it a couple of months ago when they were waiting on the gathering of the priests and bishops and for the apparition gathering. They were talking about extraterrestrial life as well. There, angels and aliens, are they linked? And I think that's the same answer there. Thank you, Adam. There. So as I was saying there, have you got anything lined up in the future? We're going back now to the Manor House. Is there anything that you could invite me to? Maybe go to the demon room or something like that in the future, or?
Yeah, well, that's in the plans. The thing is, they kind of.
I'm trying to stir it up, trying to get you to divulge more.
They don't want to be known as the ghost house. That's the thing, and I get it. It's their livelihood. They don't want, and I mean, we know they would get quite a bit of business from it, but they don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Now they did stay once. They kind of asked us to deal with that kind of stuff for them. They then put forward the idea of Halloween ones. But again, it's still, we've kind of left it at the minute because this is their busy time.
Yes.
So I don't really want to keep pestering them about, and again, like, it's expense. I don't want to do public tours and that'd be extremely expensive. And I think the house for our two things was £1,000 or something like that. So I think there's going to have to be talks in between that of seeing maybe if they can do a deal, get it cheaper, because see, when you're doing like the house, the ferry, the it all adds up, and I don't want to have to be putting forward a price that's extremely expensive.
Yeah. I suppose you know yourself. You've done places like Spike Island, the other corner of the isle. I suppose it's the locations that are more central, like your Lead Castle, Redwood Castle, Charleville, that will get people from all four corners going to them, which is kind of lucky there. This is kind of remote kind of location for me personally. It would take me 2 days to go up there the way I drive, but that's just the way I drive there. but it's those kind of locations are hard for people to go to there. And as I said, if there isn't a demon associated with it or something like that, it gets frowned upon. But then I understand as well, as you said, the owners, they will be looking for that because they need the upkeep of the property and all that, and then it's kind of, it's hard for everyone really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think though they're slowly coming around to the idea of it. I think there's just been too much stuff that they kind of have to go with it. It is what it is now, Our post, when we done the report about it, our post was, we had actually people messaging us after our investigation about other experiences they've had at the Manor House. So, I mean, I understand they don't want to be known as the ghost house, but with ghosts comes stories, and with stories, people talk, and it is what it is. But I'm hoping to get back there as well, more towards Halloween, just for ourselves, without public, without any of that, and kind of start building a relationship with the spirits there, because I think that's very important as well when you have a resident location. You want to be friendly with the spirits. You want to know them. You want to know how far you can push them. You want to know what way they're going to react before bringing people in that you're responsible for.
And Diane, sorry, now I've cut you short there, quickly. Diane, have you got anything planned in the future yourself, or?
With the team?
Yeah, or both of you together. Apart from Rathlin, is there any other places you can let me know about so I can get there first before you?
Well, we'll have Caoimhe Ghost House the end of this month. We're actually doing that with Band in Ireland.
Okay, cool, excellent. And is there anywhere where people can follow up and catch you on, or on what sites can they get you both on?
Yes, so you can go on our Facebook and you can go on our Instagram, and we have a TikTok as well.
And so does Solo Veranda.
Oh, right, so does Solo Veranda.
Don't forget about that. And the Ethel Paranormal Investigators Facebook, is it?
Yeah.
And
we don't really post much, but we're working behind the scenes. I'm just really bad at posting.
We'll get better.
I understand that. I took a year off myself there from social media there, and
I think the thing is as well, though, it just gets very draining. The whole investigating as well takes its toll on you, and sometimes you just need to take that step back for your own mental well-being. Like that would be one of my main roles, is making sure that everybody is mentally prepared for investigations, because I'm team leader, I'm the investigator, it's my group. I would feel so responsible if someone was to go and not be mentally okay, not be prepared, and something happened to them, so yeah, I think it's very, very important to take that step back, especially when there's an awful lot of stuff going on within your own life. And if maybe just the team are going through a rough patch, or it's very important to take that step back and know when enough is enough for a while, and then get back into it and get better than ever.
You're very right there, Caoimhe, and it's very understandable of a person like yourself to do that as well. Like I'm similar sort of states what we had there last year. Team members having babies and people traveling back and forth, and health issues and everything else there. But sometimes there's a time to not do anything there and sort of recharge.
Yeah, Diane messaged me today and she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I've just been so busy with work. And I was like, don't ever apologize. Like, this is our hobby. Your work is your work. That's your living. Like, don't ever apologize. It is what it is. Like, you're never going to miss out on something, like it's always going to be there. But yeah, I think that's very, very important, is having that ability to communicate with each other. That's very important, and know when enough is enough. And also, for me, I would look out for signs as well within my team members. And if I feel like someone isn't mentally okay, I would approach them and go, look, maybe I think you should sit this one out. And it's being able to do that, which I think has made our group just so strong.
Yeah, the trust and within the team as well, and the connection that we've all built together. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great. You make me want to disown my team and join yourselves as well.
We'll collab.
Don't you be going anywhere. You've been watching, or Jennifer. My wife joined you. I'm going to be on to you. Joanne says, if you do arrange an investigation at a reasonable price, give us a shout. I understand that. As you said, it's difficult for the location, and it's for the paranormal investigators. Then it's hard as well. It's just the way life has gone at the moment, hasn't it? Their way of living. I'm just going to go into the competition though, so we're going to find out where the Crowman is, and here we go.
I'm putting the complaint in.
If it hopefully it's not red or orange. God, hope not. I don't know myself, so we're going to see here. Good luck, Caoimhe and Joanne. You both picked blue, and Diane, you picked green. Hopefully it's one of those. Let's see. There's not many people getting any good at getting this right. So he was orange.
Can I change my answer? Can we do it again? I change my answer.
Well, I say green, I'm orange.
We'll keep this running now, the same video for the next few weeks, so people get it. See who's been watching then, So on the next show, we're going to be talking to chairman and lead investigator of the Birmingham UFO group, Dave Hadrian, and he's going to be talking about I think what's he going to be talking about? I haven't got it on my sheet. What is it? He's talking about UFO sightings. It's coming into my head now. UFO sightings, abduction and contact, and also a game that he produced called UFO. Oh God, I forgot what I know. Anyway, so it's a card game that he brought. He made up anyway. So Joanne says, never mind. I know there's another chance, another few weeks there, another couple of weeks' time there. Jonathan, you were thinking of Orange there. I'm sorry there, bro, there. But maybe next in August, September, we'll have 2 people entering. I want you to pick a colour. Caoimhe and Diane, it's been really thank you for spending your Saturday with us. It's been most appreciated.
Thanks for having us.
I know, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
And the time's flown by there. Interesting subjects and great chatting to you there, and great listening. And all the best of luck in the future. This is the GhostÉire Channel, folks. Goodbye for now. I won't see you next time. I'll see you in the near distance. Goodbye for now. I better press stop record. Okay, I'll do that now. Okay, carry on waving. Bye bye.